Hey guys, this is Mike from Craft Beer Storm, and we have an episode for you today where we are going to Portland, Oregon, and we're going to talk to Jillian Francis. She's the organizer for Beer Necessities for Portland, and that's a group of women who love craft beer. I did not know this, and they have groups all over the country, apparently in a couple cities around the country. So it's great. Great ideas that she's putting forward, and she's also owner of JB Products, which supplies us with keg labels. So I was talking to her and I said, hey, you got to be on the podcast, tell us about the Portland, Oregon scene. All right, so let's get to it. Hey guys, we have Jillian Francis, who's the organizer of Beer Necessities for Portland, Oregon. She's also owner of JB Products, and she is a certified beer server. So I said, hey, she's in Portland, Oregon. She's doing a lot of craft beer. She's involved in a lot of craft beer activities. Let's get her on and see what's going on in the Portland area. How you doing, Jillian?
Doing pretty good, thank you.
Cool. So listen, maybe to start with your story, where you started, how'd you got into the craft beer scene? I know I buy my keg collars from you, and you have JB Products, which does a lot more and helps out breweries. Yes. So maybe you can get into how that developed.
Well, my love at least for beer started about 20 years ago when I went to UC Davis, and then from there, Davis is kind of a mecca for craft beer and discovering craft beer. And from there, I found myself in New York City. In New York City, I met a lot of people on craft beer and just learned so much about, what craft beer meant to the community. And from there, my husband and I started JB Products Corp. in order to continue working and being part of the community of the beer scene.
Okay.
From there, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, from there, we found ourselves, in New York City and moved to Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon is another mecca for beer, at least we feel, and felt that that would be a comfortable home for not only our family, but also for our company, JB Products Corp.
Right, and in Portland, you're also involved with Beer Necessities, which maybe you can get into that a little bit.
Yes, so Beer Necessities, Women Who Love Beer, Portland is a group of Portland women who like to drink beer and learn about great craft beer. And our mission is to give beer-loving women an opportunity to meet other beer-loving women and then learn about beer. So we learn and we drink together in the Portland area.
But they have a couple of chapters nationwide, right?
Yes. So I am the organizer for the Portland chapter. We also have a chapter in Seattle and Philadelphia, and it originally started in Austin, Texas, back in 2014.
Wow! And how many women do you have in your group there?
My group has currently 471.
Yikes! In Portland, Oregon. In
Portland, Oregon, and
that's awesome.
Seattle is getting close to 1,000, and I know Austin has over 1,000 women.
Really?
And then Philadelphia is a little newer, so I'm unsure of the numbers for Philadelphia.
So that's heavy duty. I haven't heard of this before until you told me about it. Beer Necessities.
There's a lot of women out there.
So what do you do when you have events like they invade the brewery? Like you have 400 women coming in.
Well, not all the time. So I essentially post an event on Meetup, and I say, I let everybody know we're going to be at this brewery. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get a tour. You could ask as many questions as you want from the brewer, etc. And everybody RSVPs to attend. And we get various amounts. I've had 30 women. I've had 15 women. It depends on the time of year or what area we are in Portland.
Wow. So, And the Portland scene. What's interesting to me is the Portland scene is pretty, pretty hoppy. I get my hops from Oregon, actually. Willamette Valley Farms. They're in Oregon,
Yes.
which have
Yes.
delicious hop. Do you know Willamette?
I do. This area, the Pacific Northwest, is home to, from what I understand, most of the world's, good portion of the world's hops. It has kind of the perfect weather and kind of, wet to dry season to make it just perfect for hop growing.
Oh yeah, they have really good hops that they sent to us. And I'm very, very pleased. And they also get me some. They get me Galaxy hops from Australia, which are hard to find. But I know Mo, if you're listening, thank you. Actually, Mo, I got to send you more cake. We have our Oreo infused Java Porter, which we just made. She loves it, and I send her that, and she sends me the Galaxy hops. It's hard to get them,
Deal.
It's hard to get them, so it's a good deal. But what are some of your favorite breweries in the Portland area?
There are a few. One of my favorites. It really just depends on what kind of beer you like to drink. Because there's so many types of breweries and different kinds of beers. With with not very much crossover that you can choose from here. And one of my favorites is the Cascade Barrel House. And they do amazing sours. They also do other kinds of beers. But when you go into the brewery and you talk to them, it's an experience, something you can learn there. And we did an event back in June where we learned how to beer blend. And they had one of their blenders meet with us and teach us how to blend a beer, and that's by choosing your base in your barrel and your tertiary ingredients, so you can mix 3 different types of beers, of their beers, to make your own concoction.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll sit with you and talk to you about it. The servers will, and it's truly an amazing experience.
So it's like a beer cocktail.
Yes, mixing all their different beers that they have on tap. And it's very interesting and something new that I had not done, but always wanted to. And they're one of my favorite breweries because of that, because of how they push the boundaries like that.
Right. You have to be innovative today. You have to set yourself apart from everybody else.
That's true.
So
very,
many
very
breweries out there, and it's just grown exponentially. Even in New Hampshire, when I started like 4 years ago, there's 20 breweries. And now there's over 90, and that's in 4 years.
Oh, wow. Yes, that is a lot.
And, in other parts of the country, it's just exploded as well in metro areas. It's just been nuts. So
there are a lot of breweries here as well, but it seems like Oregonians really love their breweries.
Yeah.
And as an organizer, I don't feel like I run out at any time.
No. How many breweries did you say were in Portland?
Oh, I don't think I have that number without going on the internet or to the Oregon Brewers Guild. Yeah, I'd have to go to the Oregon Brewers Guild to find out, to get the total numbers.
Wow. But do you see them adding like local ingredients to their beer? Like in Oregon?
Oh, yeah. Local ingredients it is great to source locally, and Oregonians are very, very, very much into, sourcing locally. And like you were saying earlier, living in the Pacific Northwest, being home to the largest producers of hops, you have this idea of farm to kettle, which is really nice and really kind of makes you feel more connected to your community and at least to your home brew as well.
Yeah, and you said you did some home brewing?
Yes, I did. We've done a few batches of home brewing. We've done an IPA, and I do it with my ladies. We do it all together.
All the ladies get together and brew?
Yep, we get together and brew. And, we've done an IPA. We've done a Cascadian Dark Ale. And we recently did a red ale, but we learned our lesson in working with raspberries. So we're not going to make that second mistake again.
What happened with the raspberries?
Our beer came out too muddy.
Oh, yeah?
The raspberries made it muddy. We needed to clarify it a little bit more because we put it in the keg.
Oh, so it came out cloudy?
Yeah, just muddy. We didn't want it so muddy. It still tasted good, but felt like we lost the clarity that we
You
wanted.
had a New England style
red ale.
Cranberry red ale.
Oh, raspberry red ale. Yeah, New England style raspberry red ale.
You just created a new category for GABF. They just added the New England style IPA this year. It's like the first year,
did?
and not one New England brewer won that. It was all people outside of New England.
Oh, you're kidding! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm like,
I
okay.
thought that the New Englanders would top that off.
I don't know. I don't know if the New Englanders I don't think anybody from Vermont entered. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I think there weren't any Vermont tables at the GABF. I think this year. Well, when I went last year, we had a table last year. There was nobody from Vermont that was representing Vermont.
Oh, that's surprising.
And I just have the John Kimmich, who was he's the founder of Alchemist, and
yeah.
I had him on the podcast last week. I recorded it, and I'm like, yeah, nobody from New England won. He's like, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I didn't enter.
Yeah, there's a lot of hazy IPAs here.
I think there's people out there that just don't, they just don't enter these competitions. And
yeah,
I mean, I don't enter a lot, but I I think every other year I go to the GABF because it's pretty cool. You just get to meet so many different people.
I know. It's always flooded. Yeah, it's flooded. It's one of the biggest events of the year.
Have you gone?
I haven't gone. I haven't had an opportunity to, and I've known about it for a good 20 years. And I'm always, working and then having, my family.
Yeah.
Which has prevented me from traveling and taking the time.
No. But, yeah, it's a pretty cool event. I'm trying to get to the craft beer conference. They're having it in Denver.
Yes, I know. I've been to CBC many times.
So I'm trying to get a media pass. So if you guys are listening, Brewers Association,
excellent.
If you're listening, I have a podcast. I am media. Everything's shifting towards podcast anyway.
It is.
Because people want to just tune in on what they want to listen to. They don't want to listen to commercials.
No.
So that's what we provide. And we can zone in on whatever Brewer Association wants. So hopefully we get a media pass. But so what do you see? I mean, I guess you talk to a lot of the craft brewers out there in Portland. What do you see as challenges for them?
I speak with them about challenges. I mean, I think that when it's a new brewery and they're testing out their beers, I think that is an initial challenge. And I know that, worrying about, at least in distribution, or not in distribution, but waiting for it to be ready, waiting for the beer to be ready. But when I'm talking about, when I'm thinking in terms of business and JV Products Corp, I think that some things that always get brewers and breweries is the legality and the laws and understanding, colas and beer labeling and what's required between state and federal. And I think that's kind of initially, I think that's really one of the biggest hurdles.
Yes, because its owners from state to state, and some states are a little bit more lenient and some states are just, no, you can't do that at all.
Exactly.
And I think
Founders
had a label, the breakfast stout, they had a baby on the label, with like a fork and a knife just sitting in the high chair, and then everybody got nuts because it was a kid and they were exploitting children, and it was just crazy. Of
course.
So they changed the label.
Knowing that, because labels for bottles can take 45 days.
Yeah.
And if it's not ready, you miss your date.
Right.
You miss your dates to distribute and get it in the stores and this and that. So I think that's really a big hurdle, is understanding the requirements, and a lot of them are confused between the state law and the federal law, especially with the COLAs are concerned.
COLA, yes, you have to get it if you go interstate. If you're within the state, you don't have to go through TTB.
No,
the Tax and Alcohol, Tobacco Tax Trade Bureau. But
some states do, actually. States like New York, for example, have to go to TTV. But
is that
states
right?
like California, yep,
they make you go through it even if you don't go outside the state.
Yeah, they have to. They're forced to. There's many states like that. Whereas California, for example, does the ABC. Doesn't have to defer. It doesn't have to go to TTB. It can just do the ABC. So I mean, each state is different. And
ABC is Alcohol and Beverage Commission, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, in California at least. So I've learned this along the way, working with many breweries, with the business of JB Partners Corp, and, recognizing what the requirements are for each state and knowing what they want to see on the label. So
you do some artwork you were mentioning before on labels and, I know I get the keg collars from you. So can you elaborate on that? I think you were saying you were helping breweries out.
Yes. So another one of the hurdles you're talking about is finding graphic designers, because it's difficult to put it in your budget. So, how do you bring branding in at an affordable price is, the big question. And so what JB Partners Corp does, and how we started, was we give free art service with each order. And that way, you can get the artwork done and still get the product you need at the same time. So it's all kind of a package. And a lot of these breweries will already have a logo. So essentially, they'll send me the logo and let me know either what the beer is or what they want on the keg collar or what they want on a sticker. And we create the layout for that brewery, and then it gets approved, and then it goes to print.
Oh, interesting. Are they coming up with all kinds of wacky labels? There's a lot of very
different ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Based on the different beer brands and the ideas that they send. So, a lot of our breweries, though, will have a base. So starting with the base, and then we create it from there, whether it be on coasters or stickers or labels. It's all kind of different based on what the product is.
Okay.
Me.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, why would you suggest to people? I mean, we're trying to educate people on craft beer. There's a lot of people out there that don't really know about good local craft beer. They gravitate towards the mass-produced beer, and they'll bring a 24 packet home and
I know
for like $10. And like, what would you say to these people about craft beer?
Well, usually, when a lot of these people think about craft beer, they think of something, when they think about a beer that has too many ingredients in it. So when I talk to them, I try to, talk to them about, finding a, really simple, easy beer to drink. And, what it means, regarding the ingredients. And try to steer them towards that. And then finding something that is closer to that without them having to just pick up a course, or whatever else, right? Whatever else that might be, or at least something that's like a diet beer is what I've heard. I've heard diet beer before.
Diet beers.
Diet beer, yeah.
What is that?
I
know gluten free.
Yeah, a diet meaning like lower calorie.
Oh boy.
I know it's a little confusing, but I've heard it all. I've heard it all. And I it's hard to kind of steer somebody away when they've already decided. So the person has to be already willing to learn about craft beer and at least drinking locally in order to make that decision.
Right. Do you see a big trend up there towards hyper local or?
Oh yeah, Oregon is all about local, drinking local, and I think it's important to drink local. I mean, you support your local businesses, and it's a great way to meet your neighbors.
Yeah.
And the Oregon brewers here are super friendly and supportive. With our beer group, we go out and we talk to them. They tell us about brewing. They tell us about their day to day. I think everybody should just go out and just say hi to your local brewer. Just go to your local brewer and just say hi. And they're so happy to be there and doing what they do, and they would love to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great community. That's why I got involved with the whole thing too. I mean, when I was thinking about opening a brewery, I went to different brewers in the area, and they were very, helpful. No, they didn't hold anything back, and
no, they don't.
They just try to help each other, and help educate people, which is great. I
agree, and that's one of the things I really love, being part of the craft beer, community, and I feel like I'm a participant, and I feel blessed.
That's awesome. So getting back to the Beer Necessities, I mean, the women that join, are they they're very curious and they want to learn about craft beer, or do they, what do you think?
It's a combination of different things, because a lot of ladies have told me, a lot of our ladies are actually new to Portland, maybe been here a year, 2 years, 6 months, and they, want to, go out and go to local breweries. And some already love drinking craft beer. I've had ladies, though, who come up to me and said, I've never really had beer before. I usually drink wine. I haven't had craft beer, and I want to learn how to drink, local craft beer. So, we go up to the, counter together, the taps, and then I talk to them about how to order a beer and what types of beers that they might be interested in to try first. So there's a lot of different types of ladies who join us, and it's really just kind of try to create a safe space so that women can ask questions about beer without feeling like it's a stupid question. Mm-hmm. And it has brought a lot of women to our events, so it's been great.
Yeah, those are pretty big numbers for those for the groups that you have. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really proud of my ladies out there too.
Wow. So do you think there's like a beer bubble? What do you think? You think it's just like exponential? What do you think is going to happen with the craft beer industry and these breweries? They're opening every day, like multiple breweries are opening every day.
It's true. When I'm talking about, for me, from the business standpoint with JB Products Corp, I'd see over the past 20 years, I've definitely seen kind of a craft beer bubble. You see many breweries kind of come and go, and many that are just still trying to get by. And there is a point of oversaturation in the workplace and the business part of it. And also on the consumer side, I see, when they're wondering what to choose. And, when there's so many things to choose from, how do you choose, and I kind of think at the end of the day, most consumers go with what they know, what they recognize instead of something new. So it kind of seems like when that point is reached, the bubble essentially bursts, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, it is, when things go up exponentially, something happens, It's like the housing market just went nuts.
Yeah.
And just the whole thing collapsed, which is bad for a lot of people. And it's not good. And a couple of breweries in the area here in the New Hampshire area have closed, which has been unfortunate. They're great guys, but there's just there's a lot of competition going on,
It's a lot of competition.
For tap
uh,
lines. I mean, I've seen it too. I mean, when we opened, it was gangbusters, every weekend, but that's kind of tapered off a bit. I mean, our beer is still good, but there's just so many other breweries out there that people just kind of spread out, to different breweries, and maybe they might can't get to yours, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting our beer out there anyway, and people are taking it, bars and restaurants.
And that's what's important.
It's good.
And that's what's important.
Yeah. And then they find out where we are, or they'll buy some bottles in the store, and they'll come in our tap room, which is great.
And that's what we do. That's what we do too. At least living in Oregon. It does seem though, here. Interestingly enough, here in Oregon, you have, lots of movement between old breweries and new breweries when one goes out of business or a new one starts up. And it seems that Oregonians cannot get enough of new breweries. And if the craft beer bubble does exist, then I think Oregon has its own bubble, and I don't think it's ready to burst yet.
No.
No.
They're just enjoying all the beer. It's good.
Yeah. It just seems that way, at least, in my experience.
The more the better.
Yes, the more the better, and at least for Oregonians.
Cool. Are there any favorite breweries that you have in Portland?
My favorite is I love Breakside.
What are their special? What kind of beer do you like from them?
Oh, I just mostly from them. I really love their standard fare. Like their IPAs. They have an amazing though salted chocolate caramel stout that I highly recommend as a beer float. It's delicious.
Wow.
I love Breakside. Another favorite is Von Ebert.
Okay.
They do some really interesting, experimental beers, that I'll go in and try. God, there's so many. There's another one I really love is Second Profession Brewing. They're great. They keep it really, really simple, which is what I really love. And they also kind of keep some of the carbonation down, so they don't max out the carbonation. So I could actually taste the beer a lot more. And I truly appreciate that with the Second Profession Brewing here in Portland. So, I mean, I can go on.
Oh, wow.
There's here in Portland, there's so many different breweries that you can kind of get what you want. And it's always a different beer style at every brewery.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I got to get up there. Yeah, I've never been to Oregon. I got to go see my friends at Willamette Valley.
Oh, it's beautiful. The valley is
stop
beautiful.
in Portland. How far is that from there? Do you know? I'm not there in...
It's a little bit like a half hour. I mean, the valley's pretty good, but it's about a half-hour drive.
Oh, cool. I must get up there at some point. But yeah. So if people wanted to reach you, like your company, JB Products, or some women that want to join Beer Necessities, maybe they're not in Oregon specifically, but maybe there's a chapter near them. I don't know. Like, how could they find more information out about that?
On Beer Necessities, it's mostly through Meetup. So meetup.com is Beer Necessities, Women Who Love Beer, and then there's Portland, Seattle, Austin, and Philadelphia. So you can find more information that way. If you wanted to get in contact with me, you go through the Portland group, or you can get in touch with me via the JB Products Corp website and send a message through there as well. But getting into the beer scene here is so easy, and it's everyone is so welcoming that it wouldn't be difficult at all.
Cool. All right, Jillian, this is a very nice conversation. You enlightened us about the Portland beer scene and also Beer Necessities. Wow, I never, I haven't heard of it, but there's a lot of women out there who like beer, and it's very encouraging.
There's a lot of women out there who love beer, and they want the opportunity to drink beer and learn about beer. So
That's cool.
yeah, we're out there and we exist.
Actually, we do Groupons. Like 80% of the people that buy the Groupons are women. Isn't that a joke? I'm like, why do all these women buy these things? Mostly, I think they buy them for their husbands or significant others. They want to take them somewhere, and so it's like a treat for them. But hey, you got something going on there with this the women liking beer. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, I think the more of us who know that there are other women who love beer out there, I think more women will join in the craft beer scene as well.
Awesome. All right, Jillian. Well, it's great. It was a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time out to talk to us, and letting us know how your experiences and how Portland's going. And I appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Well, thank you again.
Okay, take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys. That was Jillian Francis, and she's the organizer for Beer Necessities for Portland, Oregon. I didn't know that there's all these ladies out there that love craft beer. This is great. They just want to be enlightened on craft beer, like she said. Maybe they drink wine and they don't know anything about craft beer, and they want to learn. And that's fantastic. And what better ways to go and visit your local brewery and talk to them and try the local beer. It's awesome. And she's in a great part of the world, Portland, Oregon, and also Oregon, where we get our hops from, Willamette Valley Farms. Awesome hops. It's an excellent region for growing hops for beer, the Pacific Northwest. So if you like what you heard, if you like our podcast, please go to iTunes and subscribe. Leave us a rating. Leave us a review. That would mean the world to me, and it's the only way we can get ranked up in the ratings and get the word out there and move up on the list. 1 week we're at number 12 in the food category. It was awesome. But in order to stay up there, we got to get more people involved and more people listening. So the only way we can do that is if you guys give us some reviews and ratings. We would appreciate it. Okay. So that's all I have for today, and I wish you a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you soon.